developed along the way as you pursued this interest? And lastly, what type of learning were or are you engaged in while pursuing those interests? Okay. So those are the three questions. What's your interest? Where did it originate? What type of relationships have you developed along the way as you're pursuing this interest? And what type of learning have you been engaged in as you pursued this interest? So please take a moment. I'd love for you to just share in the chat. And then I'm going to ask a brave soul to sort of share a little bit about their passion and their interests in just a second. So I'm going to hop off so I could see you. I'm going to take um, this off the screen, but I'll throw this in the chat so folks can see it and use it as a prompt. So let me just stop sharing here. Okay. Okay. So who's going to be our first one, y'all? Hold on. Let me go to my slide deck. Okay. All right. So I'm going to put it in the chat what here you go. So that's what I would love for you to share with us. An interest that you're currently pursuing, some relationships that you've developed along the way, and what type of learning have you been engaged in? So please don't be shy. Please drop it in the chat. And if someone feels the spirit within them to sort of share with us for the larger community, I would be so honored if you did. Pickleball, Jessica, that's what I'm talking about. That is like, well, Katie's into that as well. My friend Katie. Yeah. Okay, okay. We've got pickleball in a league and a team, taking clinics, watching videos, practice a lot of drills. All right, Jessica. Refinishing antique furniture. Oh my God, that's so amazing. My student as a senior was actually doing that for their internship. Lots of trial and error. Appreciate that. Learn by doing. Connected with dad. Oh, that's so beautiful. Reading, connected with a community group, now friends, learning about genres, how people think about themselves. Awesome. Upcycling, circular economy. I've been trying to join spaces aligned with this. Accessory creations. I'm looking for small business classes. Beautiful, Rebecca. Yoga. Going to the studio, community, learn a regular. Awesome, awesome. We got piano, we got horseback riding, a fiber artist. Oh my God, I don't know what that is. Kim, can you tell me what a fiber artist is?
A lot of things, crochet, quilting, sewing,
Oh, okay, okay. Got you,
fiber.
got you, got you, got you, got you. Thank you, Kim. Appreciate you. Tennis. All right. Ancient civilizations. Oh my God. Crocheting, road bike. I love it. I love it. Gardening. These are all so, so cool. I really, really appreciate the diversity of interests. Um, I only have time for one volunteer. Please forgive me. But is there one person that would like to come off mute and sort of share with everyone else a little bit of what they shared around their interests there and how they're developing relationships and the things that they're doing to sort of develop their skills and what they're engaged in learning? Anybody? Is that awkward teacher wait time, until someone like feels awkward and then they go unmute. So
Well, I don't mind sharing, although I feel like people are tired of hearing me talk about pickleball because I bring it up at every EKBN meeting, but
come on,
I
Jessica, come with it.
I
Come with it.
don't mind.
Tell me about your pickleball infatuation.
Well, a friend of mine, started off a friend of mine was like, you should try it, and whatever. And so I did. And yeah, I was instantly like hooked. I felt like it was a lot of fun. And then I had some skills, but I clearly needed to get better. And so I really wanted to and I'm the kind of person I was like, I'm not, you know, I can't just like figure it out. I need someone to tell me. This is
Okay.
how you do these shots. And so I did some clinics and things like that. But there is a big sense of community with it. There's, leagues and teams, and it's also a very social thing, which I enjoy. Um, and there's a competitive bit too, tournament,
Yeah, I was
things
gonna
like
get to
that.
that. Jessica, I don't know you from a hole in the wall, but I bet you're pretty competitive.
On the pickleball court, yes.
Yeah, 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 that sounds. Well, deep appreciations, my friend, for sharing with us your love for pickleball and the skills that you're developing along the way. I appreciate you for volunteering. Everyone else, thank you for indulging me a little bit. Hold on to your interest because we're going to come back to it in a later part of my agenda. But essentially, this is at the heart and soul of what I'm talking about when we say real world interest driven learning. The ethos of big picture learning is really centered around students' interests. And when we say students are the curriculum, that's what we mean. The interest is the curriculum, and the community is the school. So I want to do that a couple of ways with our short time together. I'm going to share with you a little bit of who I am and how I developed through this ethos of interest, relationships, and practice. I'm going to share with you a story of one of my students and where he's at today. And then I want to give us an opportunity to really dive in a little bit into developing some projects and some learning around these interests. So that's what we're in for. So let me go back to my slide deck. Okay, here we go. Oh, hold on. Okay. Can everyone see my slide deck? Everyone's good? Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I'm doing this right. Okay. So whenever I get folks together, to me, I always see it as a community of practice. So there's some values that I want to lift up, and I want to invite you to help me lift up as well. We come into this space to teach and learn. We come into this space to share and receive. We come into this space to collaborate and leverage our strengths. We come into this space to improve ourselves and each other in the service of young people. And we come to this space to move our collective work forward. So really want to lift up those values when we have the short time together. So a little bit about who I am. Several years ago, I had this opportunity to write my This I Believe essay, and it was a gut-wrenching experience. So this is mine, and I want to share with you at the core of who I am. It's titled I Cannot Complain. So I want to share with you a little bit. So his name was Sonn Sam. He was my brother. He died of starvation a little before his second birthday. I never met Samdang, but he's probably the person who's most impacted my life. My mother followed the tradition of strict discipline found in most Cambodian households. She shared stories of the horrific struggle she and my father endured to make it to America as she taught me right from wrong. My parents are survivors of one of the most gruesome genocides known to man. Approximately 2 million of my people were brutally murdered in Cambodia by the Khmer Rouge, a communist regime led by Pol Pot. Once Pot was in power, my parents and Samdang, like all the other citizens, were forced into a life of slavery. They were sent to labor camps, and their sole purpose was to harvest the rice that fed the Pol Pot regime. My parents were led to work at sunup, and each day my brother was given to the soldiers of the camp. My mother told me how she cried every waking moment, not from working like a mule in the rice fields, being whipped or beaten for resting because of exhaustion, or being fed one spoon of rice a day, but from the fear that she may not see her child alive when she returned to camp. My mother spoke of how Samdang was an energetic and playful child, always smiling, even in the midst of the tragedy that unfolded. However, as time passed, his playfulness dissipated because he just didn't have the energy. One spoonful of rice does not provide nearly enough nutrition for a developing infant. Samdang grew weaker and weaker. One story in particular that stays with me, one day while working in the rice fields, my father caught a baby crab and immediately tucked it into the inner lining of his pants uniform. While secretly creeping by a camp bonfire, he threw the crab in and came back for it a few minutes later. He then gave the crab to Samdang. Its shell was burnt to a crisp, but the meat was somewhat cooked enough to eat. My mother explained how indescribably painful it was for them to see their weak child slowly eat while they too were starving. Shortly after, Samdang died in my mother's arms. Stories like Samdam's have shaped my core beliefs about life. Through these stories, I believe that life is about sacrifice, courage, and love. I believe that I have absolutely nothing to complain about and everything to appreciate. I cannot complain because complaining only focuses on the negative, and my parents taught me that their survival depended on their optimism and the fierce fighting spirit of love for their family. I believe that I cannot complain because I've learned that the true measure of human worthiness is not in what we gain, but in the sacrifices we are willing to make for others. And most importantly, I believe that I cannot and will never complain or take anything in my life for granted because until his last moment, my brother never did. So this is some down, y'all. I wrote this, oh my God, almost 20 years ago. But this is the heart of who I am. Samdang is one of the pieces that really grounds me and is one of my purposes. So I appreciate you for bearing witness to my family history. And I share this vulnerably with you, but I want you to know who I am. I want to introduce you. to my father on the left there. He's looking fly with his bell bottoms. My mom, my beautiful mom, and then there's me and my brother. I want no one to judge us on our matching yellow uniform. I don't know what that is and those knee-high red socks, but that's what we had. I just want to share with you that I admire my parents. Ever since they came to America, they've been in survival mode, providing for our family. I've never seen them work less than 60, 70 hours a week. But they always made time for dinners, which was my first classroom, the dinner table. But when it came to my formal education in the traditional academic sense, I was on my own. I want you to please also meet my brother. As you can see, my brother and I spend a lot of time doing our hair in the morning. And I just want to share with you that Zach did really well in the conventional school systems. He had straight A's all the way until his junior year of high school, and he was just celebrated. I used to watch my brother be celebrated in every sense of the word, like the principal groups, privileges, parties, celebrations. I, on the other hand, was pretty much casted aside. And so that was a really, really hard experience watching my brother do so well. I wasn't necessarily mad at him, but couldn't understand what was wrong with me. And this is a picture of me. Again, don't laugh, y'all. I told y'all that my mom lost her son to starvation, so she wasn't gonna let that happen again. So she fed me a lot. So you see those cheeks in the beginning. Um, but I share this with you because I was 10 years old, and this was the moment of the system made me realize that I was incapable of learning, and I accepted that. And I was 10 years old when I accepted that, and that has always stayed with me even to this day. So I just want to show you that picture of myself as this young man who the system made to believe that he was incapable of learning. But I had a transformative learning experience that I would love to share with you. This was upon entering. So flashback for all the people that were born in the 1900s. Y'all know who you are. I grew up in the 90s. So a resurgence came in the 90s. I want to share with y'all a resurgence. Just one quick scene that just blew my mind. It was this movie called Beat Street. Some of y'all might have seen it. This is a classic scene, y'all, between the New York City Breakers and the New York Floor Rockers. Uh, and this movie changed my life. All right. So that was breakdancing for folks that don't know. But in my neighborhood, violence was really strong because our community was broken because our elders were broken with the PTSD from our country. And so our kids pretty much found ourselves in the streets for not the best ways. And there was a lot of gang activity in my community. My best friend and I knew that that wasn't something that we wanted to engage in. So when he came in and showed me this movie, I was like, what is that? And I want to do that, whatever that is. And so we found ourselves every Tuesday and Thursday going to the Everett Company Stage School. It was a small, small amphitheater. It was the Jungles family that led it. And it was the first time in my life where I was able to pursue something that I was genuinely interested in. So every Tuesday and Thursday from 3:30 to 5:30, it was my safe space. And I want to share with you the breakdown of how I explored my interests and how it sort of formed who I am today. So again, just like the rest of you, I had an interest and I wanted to explore it, and I did. And I found a community of local experts who shared my similar interests, and they mentored me. They expressed care to me. They showed me that I mattered. They challenged me to grow. They provided support. They shared power. They expanded my possibilities, and they really nurtured me. And they showed me that I am worthy to be in this world, and that I can learn. The practice is I was developing my skills in dance, but there were so many things that I was exposed to: kinesiology and movement science. For our shows, I explored concepts in theme development, budgeting, stage props, set design, marketing, promotions. Socio-emotionally, I was becoming aware of myself as a learner. I was setting goals. I was learning to be consistent. But most importantly, I was really beginning to start to love myself. And it was a domino effect. So from there, I started exploring more things. I got involved in organized sports. I played football. I got into theater. I was a camp counselor for urban youth. And I learned, and I was an apprentice for a barber, and for the first time brought income to my family. And along the way, I just want to share that there was just so many skills that I was developing that, fast forward 30 years now, these are the essential skills of the 21st century: critical thinking, problem solving, adaptability, flexibility, developing my emotional intelligence, creativity and innovation, entrepreneurship. Those are all the things that all these out of school experiences were building inside of me. And it's what kept me afloat and it's what kept me here. But the most important thing is self-love. I looked in the mirror and began to love myself and know that I am worthy to be here and to really continue to blossom and do the things that I'm very passionate about. And I'll share with you the sort of juxtaposition as I was thriving outside of school, senior year in homeroom. Mr. Whitford, God bless his soul, he's not with us anymore. One of the most incredible educators. Started passing cue cards out my senior year. I turned mine over. I got this number 176. So this was my class ranking, y'all. 176 out of 215 seniors. I was the bottom quartile of my senior class. So I share that vulnerably with you because there was an irony happening because I was having these transformative experiences outside of school, but then I came back into school and I got the same message that I've been getting for 12 years of public education, that son, you are incapable of learning. I was crushed, but I didn't quit. I just kept it going. I kept my parents at the center of my heart and mind, and I kept going. And I want to share with everyone that after 12 years of failing the public school system, the school system shattering my belief in my own brilliance, it would take 12 more years of working full time, parenting, higher ed, but I got my doctorates. And when I got my doctorates, I looked in the mirror, and for the first time, I said to myself, "Whoa, son, you really are smart." But there's a plot twist here. The truth is, I've always been brilliant. I've always been smart. The problem is, I've been brilliant in ways that the conventional school system did not see me, or dare I say, did not bother to see me. It was more important to be efficient than it was to be effective in serving young people, where one size fits all was much easier than one student at a time. So, and I want to talk about the sort of the impact of that and what it means for me as a human being at that time. It really resonated for my why. I became an educator because I did not want another young person to experience what I experienced in public education. And so I committed to that. And this is what I'll do until my last breath. So I want to share that with you. So a question that I just want to have, and I'll stop again. I shared with you. I hope I shared with you my authentic self as being vulnerable, but I just have a question, and I'd love to hear from someone if they just want to hop on because I'm getting short on time. But how can showing up as our authentic selves help us better serve our learners? How can showing up as our authentic selves help us better serve our learners? So I'm going to hop back off. And I'd love, you could put it in the chat as well if you would like to. And I would love just one person to sort of share their thoughts and reflections on that question. Jasmine, it's a form of modeling that pushes students to do the same. Absolutely. Amy, being authentic allows others to show who they are. Awesome. Nancy, students can see themselves in you when you show up authentically. Love that. Love that. Jessica, I think it can help show our students that we are lifelong learners, that we aren't perfect or all knowing all the time. I love that. Jessica, Jasmine, Amy, Nancy, would you care to sort of elaborate a little bit on what you shared with us? Any one of you. Carolyn, I love that. Without authenticity, it is hard to make true and meaningful connections, and connections are at the heart of learning. Beautiful, beautiful, Carolyn. Yes, that part. Joel, it's okay not to be a part of the homogeneous group. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So, Brett, students recognize authenticity and give students the space to be real as well. Yes. I can't even share with you like how much I long for that as a young person growing up with my teachers and wanting them to be their authentic selves because I didn't get to experience that. Okay. Well, thank you for folks that shared. Um, I'm gonna keep moving on, and I want to share with you a story of one of my students that continues to give you another example around this ethos of interest, relationships, and passion. Um, okay, okay. So everyone, I would love to talk about one of my former students. His name is Adewale Wole Akimbi. So here's a picture of him with his mentor Heather, who was the director of educational services at the Nonviolence Institute. Again, this is in Providence, Rhode Island. Wole was my class clown in my advisory. You know which one I'm talking about. You know that one student who drives you crazy and is never, ever absent. That was Wole. That was my kid. He drove me nuts, but I loved him. So it was all fun and games until the summer before his junior year. I got a call over the summer, and Wally was crying his eyes out. He just told me that his childhood best friend, Barry, was killed by gun violence. Um, and we were completely distraught, but we were able to wrap our arms around Wole. And in actuality, the Nonviolence Institute was providing grief counseling, and they were the ones that really provided him grief counseling. But what turned into a moment of tragedy really, really turned into a passion and purpose for Wole because he turned to me and he said that summer, he said, Son, I'm tired of my friends dying in my community. I have to do something. So Wally, on his own, set up this internship with Heather at the Nonviolence Institute. And again, on the ethos of interest, what he was very, very interested in is reducing and eliminating teen violence. The relationships he was building really with Heather, who was his mentor, but all of the staff members at the Nonviolence Institute, and the practice that really centered his skills, know-how, mindsets, all the things that he was developing as a human being and as a learner, had this driving question: how can nonviolence and restorative practices reduce or eliminate teen violence? So when we think about learning, we think about acquiring new knowledge and then applying it. So he was getting certified in nonviolence restorative training. And the application side was he was working on developing, leading, and training a peer youth mentors program. And what he was exposed to, again, he definitely went through the nonviolence and training education program. There was a street workers program that he was a part of. He was definitely there for the victim services and supports. They provided a seed program, which was centered on skills, enrichment, and employment readiness. And then there was community engagement and partnerships that he was all exposed to. So during his time there, in 2 years, Wally was one of the first students in the state to be certified in restorative practices. He did write his curriculum, created a peer mediator youth group in our school and expanded it to 5 of our campuses. And he updated the training of trainers curriculum for youth and led a training to certify young people. And for 2 years, he was directly involved in mitigating potential violent issues that came up in the community, because that was him being the problem solver, being the leader within his community. So I want you to hear from him. So let's take a few seconds just to hear a little bit of. So this is around his certification for restorative
Every single
practices.
day. We had different we went through different components of nonviolence training. We did some team building exercises. We had critical race theory conversations, connecting the principles and the steps to what's happening currently in the landscape for teenagers in high schools. And it was like a really eye-opening experience. A TOT, as we call it for short, is usually 40 hours. This was about 35. So right there, like not too far from like how many hours you need to become a trainer. And at the end of that week, all of the kids received a certificate of completion and were eligible to be, level one nonviolence trainers, which was my goal for myself. And fortunately, 10 other kids got that opportunity too.
And then here's Wally talking about creating the peer mediated youth program within our
There
school
was
campus.
myself and maybe 5 or 6 other students who volunteered to take a couple courses to learn how to mediate conflict in an objective, nonpartisan way. Whenever there were conflicts with our peers within the campus, us along with an adult supervisor or adult presence or some staff member present, we would mediate the conversation. We would, bring both parties together, ask each person their side of the story, take as much information in as we could, gather as much information as we could. Step one of the nonviolence philosophy, by the way, and without taking sides, just like representing what this person said to this person, asking them if it's accurate, if they say yes or no, if it's no, what's missing or what did they not say, and then do the same, vice versa, play it back.
All right. And then this was a little bit around him updating the trainer of trainers curriculum with a youth
They also offered
focus.
me the opportunity to work in their summer program, which I didn't do that summer. Like summer of sophomore year, going into junior, I didn't do it that summer, but I did it every summer after that. But what I did ask was for the opportunity to intern to learn more about the mission, more about the day to day that happens in the organization, and then also have the opportunity to put together some type of training specifically for high school kids because their focus at the time was whoever pays them, they're going to go and they're going to do a training. But they weren't thinking about like the philanthropic or like the community side of like kids need this training. Kids need this because my peers are dying. I'm dying. So we need to put together, they called it a training of trainers that they literally only did for working professionals. And I said, we need to do a youth version of this because it's paramount right now.
So this is the young man that I met at 13 years old who had an interest which turned into a passion and is now the purpose of his life. Wally is committed to serving his community. And I want to tell you the rest of the arc of his story a little bit. So after he graduated from our school, he was accepted to Rhode Island College, where wait, hold on one second. I just want to show you this. While he was a student full time, um, and also he was a part-time staff member through AmeriCorps at the Nonviolence Institute. And the training of trainer program he led every single summer for 4 years straight while he was in college. So he was training other young people to be certified in nonviolence and restorative practices. He graduated with a bachelor's in communication, and he accepted a job as our alumni coordinator. So then he worked on supporting Black and Brown youth who were entering college for the first time, just like him, for 2 years. And then that internship, well, that work anyways, ended with the grants. And then his mentor, Heather from the Nonviolence Institute, told him about this organization called Half Full. And it was a 1 month internship with Rebecca Twitchell, who was the founder. And it started as a summer internship. And I'm so, so excited to share with y'all that this summer, Wally just celebrated 10 years with Rebecca at Half Full. He is one of the lead trainers for the organization. And I just want to share with you a little bit as far as like what he said to her. He said, I want to thank Rebecca for giving a young 25-year-old me a chance to be a part of something special. Who would have thought we'd be here where we are today through all the challenges, turnovers, twists, and turns, etc. We went from a two-person team to a core team of five, three part-time staff, two interns, and an amazing bench of flex facilitators. Um, this organization is centered on his purpose because what this organization does is really helps organizations, companies build team culture. Like that's what he's focused on. So it's right up his alleyway. In addition to that, Wiley is a community activist, and he also was reached out to through a private institution in his community, Providence College, and they were looking for him to give him advice and training to get training around how to appropriately engage with the community surrounding the college. And so this is Wiley sharing a little bit about what he shared with the school.
I would go on the city's website for the place where that college and university is, and I would look up neighborhood associations. I would identify the neighborhood association or the neighborhood group that's associated for where my college or my university has the most impact. And I would email the point of contact for whoever that organization or collaborative is. And I would attend a meeting and I would hear what the people that attend that meeting have to say. And then I would ask questions when the meeting is over, bring that back to my institution and see if there's a way that we can support and collaborate moving forward. You are as powerful as your relationships in life, in this life. Who you know and what they know is your most powerful asset. So for me personally, I strive to be a resource to the people that live, not just in Smith Hill, but in the other three neighborhoods in the 02908 zip code. So my network is going to work for them, for those people. And it's going to only be effective if I have resources and access to people, real good relationships that I continue to cultivate.
So this is the man that Wally has become. And while people are chasing outcomes, we are chasing who our students become. And if we as educators are working with young people and thinking about what's the ultimate measure of success, this is what I want you to measure on. Does Wally know who he is? Does Wally know where he comes from? Does Wally know where he's going? And does Wally know why he's here? And I'm so grateful to play just a small part in Wole's life and in his world. But there is no greater accomplishment than I feel than having a small role in helping him become the person that he was always destined to be. And how do we do that again, y'all? Interests, relationships, and practice. It brought us to the other more important AI, authentic intelligence, and which is the bedrock for how Wally is doing so well in this world. And I'm just grateful to be a small sort of piece of that. So I'm running short on time. Um, so I am just going to share this question for you. I just want you to think about it in your own time after this as you process what I just shared. Really, how can pursuing your interest in the real world empower and or impact you as a human being and a learner? Like, what does it do for you as a human being when you're allowed to pursue the things that you're genuinely interested in? And what type of impact can that have on you in your life? Because I just shared with you the level of impact that it made on Wally. Okay. And with the short time that I have left, you have been listening, and I want to jump into the each one teach one. So everyone, I want to jump real quick into how you can get involved. So I have some instructions and something that you can do, and I just want to talk to you through it. But for us, just like everyone else, AI is here, y'all, and it is impacting everything that we do, even real world interest-driven learning. And I just want to give you an example of how we do that. So one of the things that we do is really around project ideation and also being very explicit around the competencies and the skills that our young people are developing through these projects. So that's just one phase of how we work with our young people, project ideas and what skills are they developing. So here's my ask, okay? You are on a laptop right now. I want you to pull up a tab of your favorite generative AI. So ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, whatever it is, please pull it up. And I'm going to give a prompt in the chat that I want you to take. And before you do that, I'm just going to read the prompt so you know what I'm asking it to do. And then I want you to copy and paste it and put it into your favorite generative AI. It's going to generate some project for you. And I want you to choose a project that really resonates for you and think about why. Okay. So here's the prompts. You are an expert at designing engaging interdisciplinary projects that connect learning to the real world. After reading the student's profile, recommend project ideas that strengthen the student's academic skills, career readiness, and durable skills. So in yellow on that screen right there, right where it says interest, remember when you shared your interest earlier? I want you to put that in there. Okay. So we're going to develop some projects around your personal interests. And then how do I want that information to come up? Well, I want you to organize the projects into 4 column grid, one for the project title, one for the project description, one for tangible products, and the fourth column for skills and standards. And really, I want to know about Common Core standards, career skill standards, and the durable skills. Okay. So that's what I want you to copy and paste. So I'm going to hop off. I'm going to put that in the chat so you could just grab, enter your interest, and take it to copy and paste it. And then whatever projects it spits out, I want you to take a look at it and I want you to find one that really, really resonates with you because then we are gonna go into small breakout groups quickly and just talk about those projects. So here they are. Uh,
I dropped them, son. They
oh,
should be
okay,
in
okay,
there.
beautiful.
Okay.
Thank you,
Yep,
Katie.
of course.
All right, Katie, thank you so much. Here's everything there as well. Katie did it. I'm just going to drop it all in one. You could just grab it there, put your interest in, and grab your favorite generative AI. I also want to say for those that, for whatever, if there's any computer issues, I created one for Wally. Uh, and if you want to use Wole's project ideas, you could take a look at that. But I would love for you to center it around something you're interested in because I want to make this real with you around what powerful, deep learning, meaningful learning can happen around your interests. So again, if you have some technology issues, Wole's project ideas are there for you to take a look at. But if you can, please take a look at uh, copy and paste that into your favorite generative AI. I'm going to just put some music on before we go into breakout groups. Hey, Katie, I'm just looking at the time. Maybe we don't go into breakout groups and we could just, yeah, we get some volunteers here. We're just, yes, okay. So we'll take about 2 more minutes, y'all. And I would love to hear from a few examples of projects that really resonated with you and why. All right, y'all. The song's coming to an end. When the song ends, I'd love to hear a volunteer. Can you actually hear it? I don't know if you guys can hear the song. Can you hear it, Katie? Okay. Brett, you're gonna have to share out, brother. I would love to hear the work that you got to do. I want to know. Oh, the song is up. All right, Brett, I'm gonna pick you first, or how my favorite teacher used to say, I'm gonna pick on you first. Can you share with us a little bit what your interest is, and then a project and why it resonated with you?
So I'm not sure if I did it totally right. I was the one who wrote Sumerian Civilization, uh,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know if I could even go into detail, but it gave me a number of different projects: Origin of Civilizations, Rebuilding Ur, which is the city, Code of Hammurabi. And what I found, it gave a description of the project, and because I've used the prompt, it gave the tangible products, the durable skills.
Hmm.
I mean, it lays it all out. And now it's asking me to give a 4 to 6 week project timeline and student rubrics or scaffolded version for different grade levels. Um, so again, I'm not sure if I'd used the prompt correctly, but I could see how as an instructor and as a student, it gives you incredible detail on what potential really active, engaging activities would be, and then like criteria and ways to think about it. I'm sorry I can't go into detail. It's too detailed. I use ChatGPT. I don't know.
No, no, this is good. This is good. You shared exactly what needed to be said, so I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Others, Kim, you thought this is fascinating. I love to hear why.
I mean, I love how, I mean, I just put in the prompt. I did no thinking about this at all. So like the work was already done.
Right.
And my hobby was fiber arts. And so now I have like, the way that this is organized in a table, like there's, all of these different connections of like sustainable fashion brands and a community textile history documentary and
Hmm.
therapeutic fiber arts workshop series, STEAM
Hmm.
fiber arts curriculum, like all these very specific things. And so it makes it very clear how you can like take an interest, but but connect it to like career skills, identify the durable skills, it's got the common core, like, competencies. It's very clear that this is credible learning
Yeah.
that,
Hmm.
could very, readily help to create a path that's like, oh, this one is more interesting to me, that one's less so.
Yeah.
Or I need a
Hmm.
little more science or a little bit more, creative writing, so I might go in one direction or another.
Man, I can't explain to you how happy I am to hear this from you, but I also gotta share vulnerably how angry I am because as an advisor in 2003, with an Excel spreadsheet with 15 students and 15 different interests, we had to do this manually. And based on our skill sets, based on my mentor skill sets, based on my students' skill sets, we were all figuring it out, and it wasn't perfect all the time. And I'm not saying that AI is perfect all the time, but what from the product ideation side, man, what we've seen in our network is it pumps out some really, really incredible project ideas and also articulates some very amazing products and how it connects to the specific skills that young people are exposed to. So thank you, Kim. I appreciate you saying that. And maybe just one more person, and then we're gonna wrap this up. Anybody else got a project idea they want to share? Come on, y'all. Elizabeth, I see you smiling. Elizabeth, I see you.
Sorry, I couldn't find the unmute button, but Sure. The project idea, I put in reading and outdoor projects, and it has me as a trail guide author, which I actually thought was a really creative sort of
So
integration
interesting.
of
So
a few
interesting.
ideas. And actually, I found not everything on the list was perfect, but
Yep.
it was actually some really creative ways of linking different things that I'm interested in that I had not would never have thought of. So I do
Hmm.
appreciate that.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I really, really appreciate that. I hope I didn't come off that, part of the work around AI that we're figuring out as a network, because we have 144 schools across the US, about 100 internationally, is the sort of productive tension that happens afterwards. One productive tension that has been relieved is the product ideation and skills identification pretty quickly. But then the productive tension is still there because we got to figure out what this really means for young people and what they're passionate and what they really, really want to learn about. But then we also have a mentor who's an expert in this that could lend a bunch of expertise that also impacts where this project goes. And then for me as the advisor, I always have an opinion on like, hey, listen, around your skills, like you really need to work on this, then that. So it just leads into wonderful sort of productive tension that still happens. And I know that's a concern of AI as far as taking that away. But in actuality, it's bringing more of it, to be honest. Um, Something else that I'll just say as well, I did this very intentionally because our current school system has one linear definition of what rigor is, and that's how many AP classes can we offer, or what's your score on the standardized test. And I'm not here to poo-poo on AP and standardized tests. What I'm here to say is, if those are our only definitions of what rigor is, then we've completely missed our mission in education. Um, I hope that you see through this quick exercise, through Wole's story and through my story, that there is something deeper that's happening when you help your young people or allow them to pursue their passions and their interests, when you help them align with their purpose in life, and what happens to them in adulthood and forever, pretty much. So I just really, really want that message to sort of resonate with you as you leave this short time that we're here together. Um, I just want to offer just one last thing, an extension of learning that I have on the digital agenda is we have a worksheet anyways that can help you sort of design your own leaving to learn experiences. So my challenge to you and an extension of learning is based on your interests, except for Jennifer, because she's going out practicing, making videos and entering tournaments. Oh, Jessica, excuse me, Jessica, with her pickleball. But for the rest of us, if you want to design something, I challenge you to find a community, a local expert, and I challenge you to go out there and design, meet with them, set up an informational interview, design a learning experience, come back home and reflect on that. The sheet is on the interactive agenda that I shared with you. And the last thing is all of the reflective questions in my presentation so far. I have it here that I'll share with you. And I would welcome you to think about this and reflect on this. How can interests, relationships, and practice empower our learners in our mission to support every learner? What does showing up authentically mean in our work and better serving our learners? How does pursuing your interests lead to deep, meaningful learning in your specific role? How can you support more real-world, interest-driven learning? And how do we activate student voice, interest, and lived experiences for deep, meaningful learning? Because that is at the heart of transforming our educational system. So, with that, I thank you for your time. I don't know how much time we have left, Katie, but I'm here for questions. I'll put my email in the chat. If folks want to continue the conversations, I'll be super excited to do so. But other than that, thank you so much, family, for your time. And any other way that I can help or support, please let me know. And that's my email right there. If you want to get in contact with me, I would love, like, this is my purpose until my last breath. So I'd be so excited to engage. So Katie, to you, that's it.
I'm actually going to call on Matthew.
All right. All right.
Thank you, Sud.
Thanks. Thanks, Katie, and thanks, Son, for an excellent close to our second day. And thanks to all of you for coming out to the second day of our EKBN virtual forum. We're so thrilled that you chose to spend some time with us today. I'm Matthew Courtney. I am currently serving as Chair Emeritus of the EKBN. And I would like to take a moment to just invite all of you to come be a part of our work. EKBN is a professional network that seeks to build connections nationwide, all related to education, knowledge brokering, wherever you're sitting, wherever you're doing this work. We want to invite you to come and be a part of our community. You can find information on how to do that at ekbn.org. I also want to invite you to come back tomorrow for the last day of our forum. We're going to start tomorrow off great with a keynote presentation from Tanner Jackson, all about artificial intelligence and knowledge brokering. We're going to have a really just can't miss panel all about code design and knowledge brokering and how we as brokers can sit in the middle of multiple stakeholder interests and voices and bring that work together. And then you'll also have the opportunity to participate in a number of knowledge fairs and table talks similar to what we had today so that you can really get in some small groups and dig deep into what it means to be a knowledge broker. So again, we just want to thank you for being here today. We want to invite you to come be a part of our network, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Thanks, everybody.